And I'm Ann Stelling.
And we have a very, very special podcast today. And actually, this is going up on YouTube as well. We have a great guest who's actually a great mentor of ours, Mr. Bill Corbett. Bill Corbett wrote the book, Love, Limits, and Lessons. And he also has another book I am truly passionate about, as we can see on the YouTube channel, From the Soapbox to the Stage. So if you want to be a professional speaker such as Bill and what we're aspiring to be, it's a great book to pick up. We're going to talk about other books that Bill has written. The focus tonight, Bill, as we were talking just prior to this, is, as a blended family, how your book can help other blended families. And also, as we're sitting here talking before we went live, all the things that you're doing to help families is just phenomenal. So I'm going to say, Bill, welcome to the show. Welcome to Blending the Family. And where would you like to begin, Bill? I mean, you are just when do you sleep, Bill? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's a challenge. My wife is usually texting down to me saying, like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, honey, are you coming upstairs tonight, or should we say goodnight now?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about, Bill, is the book, Love, Limits, and Lessons. How did that book come about? And one of the things that we're going to be talking about in our webinar on April 28th you're going to have to say the word for me.
Irrefutable.
Thank you. The irrefutable, 10 irrefutable, see, I can't even say it. Can you say it just for me? Thank you.
10 irrefutable, is it rules for kids or about kids?
It's truths.
Truths.
Thank you.
Irrefutable truths. And irrefutable means they can't be disproven. You can try all you want, but it's just a fact. That's the way they are.
And how did you come up with those 10, Bill?
Mainly because when I would work with parents, I would get frustrated because they were frustrated because they said, how do I get my kids to do this? How do I get her to stop doing such and such? How do I get them this, get that? So parents want me to go in there, and they always wanted me to go in there and fix all their problems. Mm-hmm. They want a microwave solution. We're in a day and age where we can go onto Google and type the answer at anything. But to truly fix the problem parents are dealing with, it means changing their relationship with their kids. And you can't fix a relationship with a microwave solution. Mm-hmm. So in order to go into a workshop to prepare myself for dealing with that, they won't listen to me, they give me back talk, they do all this stuff. What I decided to do was to save my breath and my oxygen from saying the same things over and over, was to set a foundation. And I like to compare it to like driving. If somebody were new to driving and they would say, why are there stop signs there? Why are there traffic lights? Why do I have to wait so long? But what happens with driving is we know the irrefutable truths about driving. There are stop signs. That's how we control traffic. There are traffic lights. There are bends in the road. There's construction. There are slow drivers. So when we understand what the irrefutable truths are of driving, then we go, oh, okay, we come up to a stop sign and we go, okay, no problem. I understand what this is. I needed to do the same thing with parenting, to get the parents to stop complaining about, why doesn't Susie listen to me? Why does Timmy not come out of his bedroom when he's 14? And why this and why that? I needed to create a level playing field for them to understand some of the basics that are truths. And I call them irrefutable. There's a business book out there called The Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, Irrefutable Laws of Teamwork. And I love that title. So I needed to create that for parenting. So when we lay out the foundation of the truths and say, this is the way kids are, and this is why, then parents can sit back and go, oh, I get it. All right, now I can change the way I parent. I can change the way I communicate because I understand what the truths are. And it makes parent education a lot easier if we get the basic truths out of the way first. Then they're ready to accept. It's just like, when we talk about adolescence, back talk. Why does my kid give me back talk? Well, the irrefutable truth of that is that they're separating themselves from their parents. So they give back talk. Teenagers and tweens give back talk. That's their way of separating. And if we understand why they're separating and why they have to separate, then it makes parents go, oh, I get it. And with that also, we weren't allowed to give back talk. So part of an irrefutable truth is we can't parent the same way we did back then. Back talk is not disrespect. It's just their way to separate. So if you don't like it, walk away. I love what I was doing a workshop one night, and there were a lot of dads in there, and they go, I'm sick and tired of my kids giving me back talk. And I said, how many here want an instant technique to use with back talk with kids? All the hands go up. I opened up a box and I came prepared. From a supply company, I bought little packages of earplugs, and I started throwing them out into the audience. And they didn't know what they were at first. I started throwing them. They're catching them. They're great. And they're looking at them and giving me a funny look. I go, you want to stop back talk? Plug your ears up and walk away. So that's kind of a long, irrefutable truths is laying out a foundation to start with, a level playing field. Then we can talk about what we have to do to manage behavior.
And, that's a great example. Question, though, is how did the audience react with that? Let's be realistic. In our household, we have 18, 13, and 12. And I'm going to be honest, we don't get a lot of back talk from them. However, if we do, and I said, I'm just going to not listen, I'm still listening. I'm still hearing what they're saying. So how did your audience react to that? And also, going forward, Bill, especially with the teens, in our household, again, we're going to really get into that. What else can you help, not just parents, but blended families, Bill, with advice when you're dealing with different emotions, different attitudes, and again, you're dealing with different types of families?
Well, it's understanding, first of all, the temperament of your child. When you're working with a blended family, it depends on how well you develop the relationship, because the bio kids tend to see the other parent as invading their space. And so what's really important, I tell parents, is, I'm working with a stepdad right now. I do parent coaching, one-on-one parent coaching. And and when I first do my take-in work with each of my clients, I said, why are you here? What's the issue? And the stepdad says, I'm sick and tired of, she's not listening, or he's not listening. And I said, well, first of all, your job is to build a relationship with them first. You're going to have to put aside discipline for right now, because you don't want to hear the words, you're not my dad. And if you continue on the track you are, you're going to hear those words. So the object first is to bond with that child. It's important for the non-bio parent, the custodial parent, to kind of bond with that child first. When you win them over and you have a stronger relationship, then at some point you can discipline. But I always tell steps, you got to leave the discipline in the beginning to the bio parent, because you're just gonna make things work. You have to earn your ability to discipline. And does that mean that you play a different role? Only slightly. You're there primarily to support your new significant other, which means you don't really have a strong voice in disciplining. And I tell usually moms, I used to tell the bio moms, don't expect your boyfriend or your new husband to take over babysitting so that you can go out with the girls. It's not ready for that. You've got to wait for that. And the bio parent plays a strong role in helping to foster that relationship. And that means, that he or she needs to speak respectfully of the other adults. And it's so hard, because especially a mom will cling closely to the children first, and then the guy kind of comes afterwards. So she's got to be careful about how she handles her role and how she treats each of the other family members.
That is tough. I can attest to that, and feeling like I'm caught in the middle between my kids and Tommy, and trying to play peacekeeper sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, it's really hard, and I'm in the same situation because, like you, I'm not the bio dad. I have a 17-year-old still at home, and I just need to understand that when she needs time with her mom, you know what, I just got to take a back seat for right now. Let that happen because that relationship's important. Because one day, you know, she's going to be gone on her own, and then I'll have more access to her mom. But right now, I need to allow my wife to have that space and that time for being a mom. And you know, it also goes back to the whole fact of whether she's my bio kid or not. She's still a teenager. I mean, she's going to act like a teenager, and that means I have to. And I'm telling you, I get opportunities every day. You might be listening to me. I get opportunities every day to practice what I teach to other parents. You know, when she has the attitude or she wants to, you know, declare her separation, I have to walk away. And it's really hard. It's easier to tell parents, and it's harder to actually live it, but I get to practice it often. I don't do it exactly perfect every time. Sometimes my wife is a good coach, and she'll say, honey, she's 16. Walk away. Walk away now. You know?
Oh, you're good at walking away. Don't worry about that.
Because you tell me to walk away, which is, I mean, both of you are 100% right. And, you know, there are times where the 18-year-old and I are button heads, and Anne will just say the same thing, Bill. Walk away. Go to your happy place. Go to your timeout. And so, you know, and that kind of takes on the point of your book, Love, Limits, and Lessons. You talk about, you know, having the timeout area, not a dungeon or a negative area. It should be, you know, sort of a happy place. And that's, as an adult, I think that's brilliant advice, not just for the kids, but again, dealing with a blended family, firmly for the adult. Like you were saying, Bill, walk away, but don't just go somewhere. Find your little Zen area of the house, or I guess literally take a walk.
So I'm kind of interested, Bill, with you're talking about all the work you're doing with teenagers now. And when we went through Love, Limits, and Lessons, sorry, I always mess that up. It was definitely geared towards the younger kids. So are there some different principles, or did you tweak your principles to relate more to the teenagers? How did you make that transition?
Well, again, it's understanding what kids are going through in the adolescent years. There are some things in that book you can't use with teenagers because you're dealing with different factors, and it's just, and it doesn't take a lot of science or studying to understand the adolescents. Mainly that they're in a mode of separation. They want their own independence, their own space. So there's certain things you can't really do with them. That's in the original book, but a lot of the main principles are there. It's all remaining calm. The basic difference is the perspective, seeing their perspective, where they're coming from, how they're creating that separation. And what's really important, and I get a lot of people disagree with me, we still need to keep them safe, which means I really believe we need to be monitoring until a certain age. Now, people say, well, what age can you know, reduce the amount of monitoring you're doing with your kids, especially online? And I say around 16 is when you want to start, you know, cutting it down, depending on the maturity level of the child. But monitoring is still in the original book. It's still monitoring. It's important. But in the 16 to 18 years is when you're getting them ready for adulthood. You want to start stepping back. And hopefully, if you've done all your homework correctly, you've set them up with enough principles to keep themselves safe so that you don't always have to be looking over their shoulder. But it's my favorite book on teenagers is Get Out of My Life, But First Can You Drive Me and Cheryl to the Mall? And while it is a very abrasive book, a lot of people didn't like it because he's speaking very abrasively, written by a psychologist who lives 20 minutes from me. And if you've seen any of the episodes I did with him, I interviewed him on my show. the author of the book, Dr. Anthony Wolfe, he really reveals the whole thing about adolescence, you know, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, he talked about it in his show, but I remember the day when my son was like 13 and said, I was dropping him off to school after a doctor appointment. And already at that age, he declared no more hugging and kissing him. And that was his drawing his boundary. And some kids will let you do it later, some won't. But anyway, he said, Dad, I need you to drop me off at the corner. Don't drop me off in front of the school. And I said, dude, why not? And he says, because my friends might be hanging out there. I said, so what's the problem? He goes, I don't want my friends to see that I have a dad. And I said, but wait a minute, they all have dads. And he goes, dude, it's just embarrassing. So, and that's what Dr. Wolfe pointed out in his interview and in his book. You just gotta, there's not a lot of science that you need to raise a teenager. Use all the same concepts from the original book, but you just gotta start is seeing their perspective, why they're behaving the way they do. Lift the hood, as I say, like on a car, with your teenager and understand that they're in this mode of separation. And it means, especially to moms, yeah, you're losing your baby. You lost your baby. But he or she's going to come back on the other side like a butterfly, transformed into a young adult that you're really going to have a much different and tighter relationship with if you let go. And if you allow yourself to turn into from a parent to a coach and a mentor.
That's hard.
I mean, that is some wise wisdom right there. And
it makes a lot of sense. We are exactly 30 days out from my first baby graduating high school. And I swear I was pregnant longer than it took her to get to this age. But I can tell you, I've been through where she's been separating and becoming her own young woman. And she's amazing. And it breaks my heart a little bit because she doesn't need me as much.
Just a little? It breaks your heart just a little?
a little, yeah. But it's also so cool to watch her be so independent and do things on her own and to figure things out. Like I said, she's turned into an amazing young woman, and I'm so proud of her. But yeah, what was it, last August? I kind of had a major meltdown when it occurred to me, oh my gosh, this is the last year she's going to be living with us, and she's going to be going away to college, and and poor Tommy's like, but we don't even know if she's going. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Well, the interesting thing was, as a stepdad myself, what I really enjoyed was between around 8 until about 10, maybe 11, my stepdaughter was attracted to me more than her own mom. And I mattered. And she wanted me to tuck her in. She wanted me to go places with her. But then around 11 or 12, when the hormones started to kick in, then I got booted out the door in a way. It was now she was beginning to move or to gravitate towards her mom. And now I was like, ew, and so it was sad for me to know that she didn't need me anymore. She didn't want me, tucking her in or helping her with the homework. She wanted her mom. But it was hard for me in the 8 to 10 range to watch her mom feel sad, that she was getting rejected. So the one thing we have to tell blended families is different parents may be favored at different times. And so during that time, she was probably calling me her stepdad. Now I'm her guardian. So things change, and we have to be accepting and just be open to those kinds of changes that they go through.
I thought we helped you, Bill, regarding changing your vernacular. I thought we got you over that step word. That's okay, Bill. Still love you.
Right, bonus.
Yeah. My wheels are turning too, because with Becca, who's 13, that's our relationship is the one you were just describing, the 8 to 10 range. But there are times now, because we have Ann's nephews now moved in with us, another East Coast transplant coming to Colorado, and I can see where Becca is gravitating towards him. But I think I'm gonna be at that stage in my life when Becca finally says, she doesn't need me to give her rides, or doesn't need me in those situations, because my last resort is my own son Connor, who eventually, when he hits 13 next year, going to be like, dude, quit hugging me, man. Same thing, Bill.
Well, I've talked about agreements, setting up agreements with your kids, and I've used that with my kids all while they're growing up. And I remember the day my son came to me with a sheet of paper, and he walked into my office and he said, "Dad, is now a good time for us to talk?" Because that's what I used to say. And I said, "Sure." And he said, "I need you to sign this." And he handed me a sheet of paper, and it said, "I, Dad, solemnly swear to no longer kiss my son in public." And and he made me sign it. It was the agreement. And there was even a consequence at the bottom. The consequence was that I would have to pay him $5 for every kiss that I gave him in public.
So did you give him a $20 bill and say, "Here you go"?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. Until he took the consequence away and said, "All right, never mind the consequence."
So the other thing we found very interesting as we were talking before we went on is what you're doing now with teenagers and parents. Teens at risk. And I was like, my eyes lit up, because that's something that Anne is heavily involved with in her line of work. So can you tell our Blending the Family podcast what's going on in that new chapter in your life, Bill?
Well, I think once you learn the basic concept of child behavior and where parents are struggling, I realize that there's a whole audience out there of parents who probably won't ever get to a parenting class, and they really need to be. Well, they're causing problems with their kids. Their kids are left on the street. They don't like their parents. They want to be at home. They want to escape early. And so now this population is causing a lot of problems. We've got a lot of kids out on the street that, while you guys and I, as parent educators, we may need to tweak what we do to reach the other populations. A lot of times parents will say to me, "Well, you know what, why don't I just bring my kids to you and you'll fix them and then we'll be all set?" And I say, that's great, but you know what, as soon as they go home with you, everything's going to fall apart, because parent education is important, because it's the parents that really need to work with their kids. But in some situations, there's no helping those parents for whatever reason, and we may need to go directly to the at-risk kids and teens in my case. So I'm working a lot with agencies that have therapeutic mentors, which is I never even realized that position existed. It's where it's like primarily in counseling centers or camps, where they work with the kids. A therapeutic mentor is usually a young person, very close in age to the teen years, usually in their first, their early 20s. And they get paid to work with these teenagers, to bond with them, to help them open up. And so I'm working with therapeutic mentors, I'm working with camp counselors, I'm working with youth workers, the folks who work at government agencies to teach kids how to dress, how to speak appropriately, so that when they go in for an interview, they're more likely to get hired. That means teaching. What they do is they have to teach youth how to look adults directly in the eye, how to smile, how not to mumble their words, how to pull their pants up so they're not hanging down to their knees, appropriate dress and behavior in the business environment. And there's a huge need out there for anybody who can work with the youth workers and help them with their job of getting these millennials, these young kids, ready to go into the workforce.
We use a curriculum called Bring Your A Game to Work, and it's written and geared towards teenagers, and it talks about the 7 A's, and I know I'll never get all 7 A's, but appearance, attendance, appreciation, attitude, are just a few of the things that we talk about. And yeah, so appearance, and we talk about, yes, you may want to dress this way and express your style, but look around you at work, and you need to fit in at work. You know, being appreciative of having a job, and attending, getting there to work on time, doing your work, all of that. And it's a great book, and it's goes along with the video, so you get to see some of the stuff. And it kind of, it's dorky sometimes, but it gets the point across and gets the kids to laugh, and kind of sticks in their head a little bit more. So and we also have a program. It's the TIGHT program is what we call it, and it's an acronym. And again, not good with the acronyms, but what these kids do is they're at risk, like who you work with. We help them get their GED. Many of those kids are so smart, but just could not handle school, could not sit still in a classroom. That's part of what got them in trouble, so we do like classroom, not necessarily classroom, but computer programs. We use Khan Academy a lot for that. And then in the afternoon, they go out and they learn skills, and they go to work job sites and learn things like get certified on chainsaws, do filing, do all sorts of stuff all over the county. And it's helped quite a bit of kids. And we've gotten, trying to think, last year we got 23 kids graduated with their GED last year. I think it was right around there. But that A game was definitely helpful. And if you want, I can get you that information on that curriculum.
I'm very familiar with it.
Oh, cool.
There are some agencies around here that work with that. And I go to a lot of conferences where training vendors like myself set up to make their programs known to agencies that are looking for that. I just finished a webinar. I did a 5-part webinar, a national webinar, and it was all about lifting the hood for youth workers as to why the youth are behaving this way. In order to help them deliver the 7 A's, it's to give them some background as to what's probably going on at home, what got them to where they are. In fact, I've been really working hard studying this new material that's come out of the University of New Orleans. They think they've figured out why these young persons are causing mass shootings. They think they've figured out the formula as to why they're doing that. And then that's really important information. And so I deliver that as part of my curriculum to help them understand, to identify these kids who are at risk and how to handle them in a slightly different way to keep them and everyone else around them safe.
Oh, very good.
Well, we're getting close to, I can't believe it. It flies by every single show for us, Bill. I want people to know more and more about you, Bill. So let's plug Bill Corbett. How can agencies, how can speaker bureaus, and how can people get in touch with you, Bill?
Well, they can go to, I have 2 websites, cooperativekids.com, where they can learn about the methodology that you found, and also billcorbett.com tells them a little bit more about me and my professional what I do and how I work with agencies around the country. And I just want to help you guys continue to do what you do, because I can't do the work in Colorado, in your part of the country. So I'm here for you to help you in any way that I can.
And in the time we have, Bill, I know you've got a great little, I shouldn't say little, but it's growing big. Your speaker events there in Hartford?
Yeah, there's so many people like me and you guys. We speak as part of our job, whether it's doing a lecture or speaking at a conference like you, Tommy. And so I wanted to hang out with more people. I missed you because you guys live way over in Colorado, so I wanted to gather more people who love to. I think it's a special person who can stand up in front of an audience and speak. I think there's so many people who are so afraid of that, but that fear also is in other parts of their life. I want to hang out with people who aren't afraid to stand up and speak, and whether it's training or speaking. So I decided to find a way, in a selfish way, to how can I gather all these people that I want to hang out with? And I started the Hartford Springfield Speakers Network, and we get together once a month on a Saturday, and people complain Saturday's hard. That's nice, but we wouldn't get together in the evenings anyway because we got families. So if we can carve out one Saturday morning, get together. So I packed the room, and this has just been an incredible opportunity for me and for others. We've gotten so much work from each other through referrals and knowing what each other does. So we set up a sales table where everyone can bring their books and DVDs to sell. We add some fun to it. We have a raffle table. We tell everyone who attends to bring something to re-gift, something that they don't like that they got for the holidays. And we have this huge table set up with raffle gifts, and we have a lot of fun with that. And we give away anything from paintings to baskets of strawberries to anything. And so we add a little bit of fun to it. It's a 3-hour meeting. And, there is an organization out there called the National Speakers Association. They have chapters, but there's so many people who aren't ready for that. Right. Who don't feel like they don't have the pocketbook to afford that membership, but they still want to learn and network. And so we bring in one big-time speaker each meeting to help us with our business, and it's just continuing to grow. It's HartfordSpringfieldSpeakers.com, and there's more information. If anybody would like to set up a chapter in their part of the country, I love to help them figure out how to do that because it's awesome.
And one more time, Bill, give us your information, because I know people are going to want to get a hold of you, Bill, after this show.
The best place to reach me is BillCorbett.com. BillCorbett.com, and Corbett is spelled Corbett. BillCorbett.com. And I look forward to getting a chance to come out to Colorado to see you guys again. And if you guys come east, I hope you'll give us a chance to see you as well.
Well, we'll make sure we come on a Saturday so we can be your keynote.
Tommy, look what happened. Remember when you came for at the right time for the TV show? Yeah. What fun we had. Do you remember? Of course, Jim Bouchard. He's going to be our featured speaker in June at the speakers meeting.
Jim has a new book coming out.
Yeah. That what a great panel of guys you were part of. There was so much energy in that studio when we did that. That was amazing.
It was a lot of fun, and I want to tell you, my own little ego trip having my wife there and her parents, it was like, yeah, I'm going to be on a TV show tonight. Yep. I'll be in the green room if you need me.
Well, did you get a copy of the new book, The Expert's Guide to Teenagers?
We did not.
No.
Oh, that's my newest book, and you're actually in that book, Tommy. Didn't I get you a copy?
No, and I should autograph it for myself.
You should. It's. I'll send you a copy. Let's communicate afterwards, and I'll send you a copy because all the transcripts from the show became a chapter in the book.
Oh,
very cool.
Did I use the English language properly?
You did, and the editor cleaned it up anyway. So it's
good. That's why I hired Ann, because she's my chief editor anyway.
So you paid that editor well, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, Bill Corbett, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much to our listeners, and again, this is up on YouTube, and I'm excited about. This was a great show. Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you so much, Bill, for taking time out of your evening and coming and talking with us. And say hi to Liz for us. I will. Excellent show, guys. Good luck with you, and let me know how I can help you. Okay. One thing, Bill, real quick. Just remember, the word is bonus. Bonus. Bonus daughter. Bonus daughter. God, I'm a bonus dad. Thanks again, Bill. Take care, guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.